Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the virtual Cobalt Cafe. My name is Rick Looper. You've arrived at week number 284 of our series. Glad to have you here with us tonight. In addition to our open reading, our featured reader is Neil Daswani, who, well, you never know what country he'll be reading to us from today. I believe India. But that's not even the usual country that he's in. So it's a surprise to all of us, and we're just glad that you're here, Neil, from wherever that you are, and we're looking forward to your reading tonight. So before we get to Neil, we're going to do a little bit of our open reading. 5 open readers first. Denise, you're going to be up first, by the way, in a couple minutes. The random gods have spoken, but I think you're up to the challenge. Um, if you would like to participate and you haven't already done so, send me a message in the chat and I will be happy to add you to the open reading list. As always, everyone gets to read up to 2 poems. And as always, our suggested time limit is less is more. So keep that in mind when it's your turn to read. You should have the chat room open so you can interact with each other since we are all muted throughout the festivities. And finally, we do have a 1 drink minimum here at the Cobalt Cafe, so make sure that you have a beverage of some kind to honor that long-standing tradition. Having said all that, I would like to, at this point, ask if there are any questions. Yes, Cathabella.
Rick, what would you call comfort? What could you tell us what comfort food would mean to you?
Comfort food. I'm a big fan of New York style slices of pizza. So a good, legitimate NYC slice of cheese makes me very happy. I'm also, although I'm a vegetarian, I do like a good veggie burger and fries. That makes me just feel kind of happy and part of the whole thing. So yeah, those are the 2 things I think I would throw out there immediately. This may not be related. My probably favorite meal is a cheese board with like fruits and cheeses and
Say that.
French
Oh,
baguette
cheese
and
board.
yeah, so like
Yeah.
that will be my last meal, I think. That you're just trying to figure out when that's going to be so we can get it prepared.
Oh, I
Couple
know
weeks, I
how
think.
you
We'll see.
feel. Yeah. So
All
nice.
right, well, good question, Cathabella. Thank you so much. Nice to see you here. Martin, what do you got?
Yeah, Rick, I'm not sure if I've asked you this before, but do you have a favorite type of tea, if any?
Tea.
Yes.
Yes, I like loose leaf Darjeeling tea
Mhm.
that I steep much longer than I should. I really like the bitterness that comes along with it, that I temper a little bit with honey, and it is a delightful treat to drink that on the days that I decide to have tea and not my regular cup of Death Wish coffee, uh,
I know
which
you've
I
mentioned
drink every
coffee, so
morning
I wasn't
now.
even sure if you had a favorite type of tea, but
Yeah, there you go.
okay.
Uh, Good question. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we get going? Finn, yes.
Howdy, Rick. um, have you ever heard of or eaten crispy palabok? And if you have, what's your thoughts?
I don't think I have heard of that, so I mean, I can make up some thoughts as a result of that. I guess my main thought is now is curiosity, wondering what that is and why you're bringing it to the table,
There is a
what.
place that they specialize in, it's only in Southern California. And I know it's going to take the rest of the nation by storm, uh, but they only have it now in Southern California. And it's basically the crispy version, like the Hong Kong version of a noodle dish in the Philippines that consists of rice noodles and sometimes shrimp, chicharron, an orange savory sauce. It's really good. It's really good. But I've never had the crispy version. So
Do they have vegetarian options?
they probably have, yeah, without the all the yuck options. The the
Because that's the first thing I have to find out before I go to a place is there anything I can actually eat there?
exactly. Yeah.
But it sounds delicious, and I'm willing to give it a try if I come
Let me know.
across it.
Let me know if you
All
come
right,
across a veggie version.
sounds good.
Um,
All right, Finn, thank you so much. Good question. Any other questions? Christopher, yes.
Yeah. As you know, I have this book. I was just curious to find out whether the moose has a name.
Um, well, you should know the moose on the cover or just the concept of the moose that I was looking for in the book.
Uh, I don't know, whichever one you want to answer, I guess.
I mean, the whole idea behind High Moose Alert is I went to Alaska and the Canadian Yukon looking for to have experiences, wildlife sightings, and they were few and far between. And I believe, I hope this doesn't ruin it for everyone, that particular moose was, I think I took it was a taxidermied moose that I came across in the Denali Visitor Center. And so, which means it may have a name because it's not a wild moose that's just out there, but I don't know what its name is. And now I feel guilty about that.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a good set of questions. No one ever asked questions about the poetry reading. That was the initial purpose of the question and answer period, just to help people figure out what's going on. They're always personal questions. I'm feeling violated, honestly, right now. But that's okay. Please continue to violate me. It's why I'm here. On deck, our second reader will be Christopher Bogart. Please welcome now Denise Dumars. Hello, Denise.
Hi, everybody. Okay, well, I guess I get to open up tonight, so I'm going to be weird as usual. Okay, the first one is not too long. It's about a cat, and the cat's name is Ashes. Ashes roams the gloaming of this factory town, eyes like acetylene flames. Black fades into asphalt, but it's no fault of the cat, who speaks with bandsaw screeches. Ashes always makes his presence known. Once he had a patron, a woman gold of hair and purse, but death comes to the maiden, sometimes something even worse. And Ashes went to alley like a welder to a torch, the cold night fog his only blanket. Ashes trades in darkest hope, his fur to tender stroke, by anyone who needs this simple love, but especially those who dare to ask for fair release from this ceaseless urban nightmare. Ashes always grants them peace. Okay, this one I think I've read before. It's called Blue Hydrangeas, and it starts with a quote from Madonna. Madonna and I don't always see eye to eye, but in this case we do. The quote is, "I absolutely loathe hydrangeas." Blue hydrangeas. What weather is this that invades the cerulean sweep of sky like the tasteless explosion of blue hydrangeas into an otherwise orderly rose and lilies of the Nile garden? It muddles the conversation, belies the otherwise camera frame perfect, carefully placed disorder of the distractions in our lives, so beautiful and clear the skies when everything shut down. I'd hoped that it would last, but blue is still the rarest color in nature, and it's only a matter of time before the earth is blanketed in a shade I call particulate brown. Smoke and noise from fireworks more than a month too early. Unhappiness revels in noise and filth. The worst pollution always comes during wartime. Neighbors of mine and others have poisoned edible plants, believing that herbs and vegetables attract rats, a tide of ignorance. Nothing is more harmless than lavender. Lavender blue, dilly dilly. The paired words mean extraordinary, rare, or so the dictionary says. Leon and Mary Russell used the song for their wedding, and we see how well that turned out. Lavender is never blue. When I look outside, I see a clabbered sky, the one Hoagie Carmichael made famous. I could swear he sang it in Casablanca, but apparently not. I don't have any other word for it, this thing, this war of the mind. Aluminum makes hydrangeas blue, so save your pennies. Maybe they'll be worth something someday, the pennies or even the hydrangeas. There are no gods that factor into this equation. What you value tells me what you are. Thank you.
Nice poems starting us off today, Denise. I always appreciate a cat poem, as you probably know. I always appreciate weird. Thank you for self-identifying and going in that direction as well. And I think the whole concept of Madonna and I don't always seem eye to eye is at least the first line of another poem.
Probably, yeah.
I imagine the two of you just having conversations and disagreeing a lot. And so please write that poem and bring
Okay.
it back to us someday.
Okay.
There you go. Suddenly this is a workshop. I don't know.
Yeah.
Round of applause for Denise Dumars. Thank you so much, Denise.
Thanks, everybody.
On deck, Valerie Sofair. Please welcome now Christopher Bogart. Hello, Christopher.
Hi, Rick. Can I share the screen? Yeah, I can. All right, good. Thanks, because my eyes. At any event, this is called Four-Letter Word. By the way, both of these poems are in honor of something that it looks like it's about to be erased, and that's Black History Month. So these both are in honor of Black History Month. Four-letter word. What was that word, that four-letter word from Carolyn Bryant that killed Emmett Till? Was it lies? Was it rope? What was that word, that four-letter word that strangled the life from Elijah McClain? Was it neck? Was it hope? What was that word, that four-letter word that held George Perry Floyd's black neck to the curb? Was it free? Was it knee? What was that word, that four-letter word that fired the bullet that killed Dr. King? Was it fear? Was it fate? Or was it just hate? And then the second one is one that I have an epigraph for. He's a poet from Jersey City, and I'd love to get him on here. He's got 2 books of poetry out. His name is Rashad Wright. He's a young guy. He's not even 30 years old yet. One of the lines from one of his poems is, "What is being black if not being like a monster movie waiting to happen? And being black is like being a monster." And this was my poem. Amir Locke was 22. Kyle Rittenhouse just 17. Amir was an invited guest. Kyle Rittenhouse a trespasser. Amir Locke was sound asleep. Kyle Rittenhouse roamed Kenosha streets. Amir had a licensed gun. Kyle had an AR-15, but a license none. Amir's gun was never fired. Kyle fired and fired and fired. Amir Locke hurt no one. Kyle fired 3 times, killed 2, wounded 1. Cops put 3 bullets in Amir Locke. Cops gave Kyle water and wished him good luck. Amir was executed without a trial. Kyle got a trial but was then set free. Amir's dead. Kyle's still alive. Amir was black. Kyle's still white. Black humans are killed. white humans let be. So was Amir really the monster, or did we set the monster free? Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. Appreciate you fighting the good fight ongoing, and sad that you have to do that. But it's important work, and you're reminding us that that these words need to be said, and these struggles are still very present is very important. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Christopher Bocart. On deck, Finn Bell. Please welcome Valerie Sofair. Hi, Valerie.
Hi. I have a birthday this week, so I'm going to read a poem I wrote 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. It's in my chapbook. Age is just a number. In the botanical garden, it's safe from people if you choose the right path. There is an illegal amount of beauty here. Hills fold into the canyon, disappear into a distant gauze-wrapped city. In the garden of old roses, a dormant flower misses its second bloom. Rivulets run into Strawberry Creek. On the ridgetop, buzz-cut trees trimmed by wind. Amid this enchantment, loneliness clings like lichen. Confused blooms stop opening on a day that got lost in winter and found spring. Unsafe under a cloudless sky, 40 days without rain. Only the cloud forest holds the illusion of water. Too many people pass too close, too many unmasked, too many conversations not about plants. A man stops to catch his breath. This is a place for the older, not the elderly. When did I become one, and how long until I will be the other? Unable to manage deep, uneven steps on winding paths to beckoning benches. Today is my birthday. I face the conundrum of how to celebrate myself. A monkey puzzle tree day. So I come here on a morning too early for shadows and scents from blooms just beginning. If you ask me what I wish for rain. Years ago, a magician asked me to pick from the fanned deck he held out a card that would show the age I would live to. I chose a number so far in the future, it was one I could live with. Keep it a secret, or you'll spoil the trick. Now that number is a touchable age. My earth has tilted on its axis, and I faced the moon. When it shifts again, and the magician holds up a card, is this the number you picked? I hope to say it doesn't matter, because I knew the Queen of Hearts danced with the Jack of Diamonds. As I leave the garden, throaty toads sing in reeds mired in velvet pond scum. Hesitation hides in the cactus garden, spiky and dangerous. I reach one last bench, linger, watch the light play tricks on mirrored leaves in the deepening sun. Thank you.
Valerie, thank you very much. Happy birthday, by the way. I hope your 39th year is fantastic, and you have many more 39th years going forward, and appreciate you spending a little bit of your birthday week with us with that wonderful poem. Round of applause for Valerie Sofair. Two more readers, and then our featured reader, Neil Daswani. Martin Parker, you're on deck. Please welcome now Finn Bell. Hello, Finn.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everybody. Commence transmission. Row through with care and survive a soulless, disposable world with your perfect shell of a silver heart intact. 1. Consider Utopia and all her plot holes. She is lover to her cousin in the underworld, twice as mad, copying the movement of replicate mind since her first birth. 2. Promiscuity is allotted today, not allowed, always command performance on someone else's terms. The sexual revolution never happened. The androids are tidiness, and they are swept propaganda into the sewers. Below ground, new immortals dance. Bodies are not property, are not sanitized sexuality, augmented and filthied up thought data sequence. Stop, save, retrieve the corrupted holocopy to keep you warm throughout the tepid passion, climate controlled night. 3, when we are death and rebirth in an unending fire halo pattern in our solitary spheres, are we calling this now truly living? 4, don't fuck the quasi robots. Make love to them completely with abandon that they have feelings too, though they refrain from admitting it. They are aware that the government guides them, governs us, watches our every moment in the keyholes, and pretend they don't know we are also watching them, watching us. The complicity is silent. The subterfuge is absolute. 5, the androids imagined us before we conceived ourselves, their own presence illusion, to fill the void of life. Our dreams are the construct. Our lives are the dreams. Our lives are not the reality. 6, once we decide we cease to matter, our emptiness begs to design us a spaceship coffin to escape the pomegranate-shaped earth, regurgitate its 6 seeds, eject us from a hellish, multidimensional paradise. We look back at our ruins, we cannot help it, humanoids craving concrete proof of our destruction. Only here does the illusion shatter. 7, first entry in Celestial Explorer's log. Love is beyond the tangible, immaterial and organic, alchemy and magic, blood and flesh and bone. Love is the universal truth. Transmission ceases. Transmission resumes. 8, when given the option, the only choice should be to always bite the sun. Transmission no longer found. Thank you.
Ben, that was fantastic. Just something to consider. I understand not fucking the quasi robots, but is heavy petting allowed? Think about it. Get back to us. You don't have to decide right now. Love is the universal truth. Thank you for that message. Thanks for that wonderful poem. Round of applause for Finn Bell. Thank you, Finn. On deck is our featured reader, Neil Daswani. Please welcome now Martin Parker. Hello, Martin.
Hello again, Rick. Oh, great stuff already tonight. Looking forward to Neil's feature coming up. Got a couple poems here. Both of them are for my mother. This past Thursday was the first anniversary of her passing. So these are a couple poems you may have heard before, but it's been a while, I think. The first one is called Tea Time. She fills it with water that flowed from the tap, then sets the kettle on the back of the stove and sits back down in the wooden chair, returning her thoughts to the statements that lay across the kitchen table's surface, attempting to fulfill this taxing chore. The whistle of the kettle breaks the sound of silence that settled over the room. She drops the tea bag into the mug and pours the boiling water in to steep within the colorful confines of that pansy mug I bought her that day. And this is called Strawberry Bavarian Pie. My mother taught me how to bake a pie crust and an oatmeal cake and other things I love to make, like talismans of food that take me back to times with love she'd share while sitting in a kitchen chair. The way to create these treasures rare, such comfort food with subtle flair. Then when it was time, the crust she'd fill with strawberry Bavarian and let it chill. She'd whip the Jello and cream until they'd almost set, and then with skill she'd fold in berries that turned it bright pink, and down into the crusted sink like flavors, with its flavors like the missing link to joys of childhood lost, I'd think. But really, the memories are always there, like fleeting glimpses of my mother's care. And those are both in memory of Dolores Ann Wright Parker, my mother. And I'll put my usual links in the chat. I can use any help with income I can get lately. So anybody has any questions, just send me an email. Thank you so much.
Martin, thank you. Lovely memories of your mom. The last image there, the fleeting images of your mother's care, was very powerful. Thank you so much for that work. Please do paste your links in the chat, and folks, support Martin if you can. And Martin, thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Martin Parker. On deck after our featured reader will be Melody Anderson Bromides, which leads us now to our featured reader, Neil Daswani. Neil is a poet who comes to us, well, he comes from Singapore, though as I mentioned earlier, he's actually in New Delhi today. Curious as to what has you traveling. Neil, but as a big fan of travel, I'm not even sure that it matters. It's great that you get to go places and be places. Neil is someone who's been a participant in our reading regularly, I'd say, over the last several months, and we have been lucky for that. He's a very strong writer and reads his work with kind of a gravitas which really accentuates what he's saying and how he chose to string the words together. So we're really lucky to have a full set from Neil today. In particular, what I've just said is in light of him mentioning in his bio that he's got no formal training in poetry. I bet that speaks to a lot of us because maybe many of us are in that same boat. Wrote sporadically as a younger person, and has done different kinds of things, like worked as a banker. He has 6 books of poetry under his belt. His work has been showcased at the Singapore Writers Festival, the Singapore Book Publishers Association, and the Jaipur and Bangalore Literature Festivals. All that to me, sitting here in Newhall, California, sounds very exciting and exotic. As well as in different poetry anthologies in Europe and in the United States. He also has acted in an award-winning art movie, Sahasi, which means Brave One, Dateline Singapore. And most recently, his poem, A Change in Trajectory, was published by Mayari Literature, was nominated for the 2026 Pushcart Prize. That's amazing. Neil, I'm really happy that you're here. We're all in for a treat. Please welcome our featured reader, Neil Daswani.
Thanks, Rick. And it was a joy listening to all the readers that went ahead of me, and I'm sure I'll stay on for a lot of poetry. I've tried to be a bit irreverent today. Let me launch in. Before I do so, I just wanted to warn that this being in Delhi and being where I am, the connection is a little bit iffy, but hopefully it'll last. Okay. On to poetry. I begin with a poem titled February with
Neil,
days
I don't
too
mean to
few.
interrupt, if I may, but the connection does seem to be bad and you keep freezing. I'm wondering if you just turned off your camera so it was audio only, not ideal, but it might prevent us from you breaking up and us hearing you all the way through.
Okay, I'll switch off my video. Hopefully that'll help. I did fear this, but okay, we'll. Okay, is that better now?
So far, so good.
All right. Okay, here goes. I'm sorry about this. Not really within my control. Okay. Oh, February. None of us should feel shortchanged, even as an apologetic February with days too few and too fewer days leaps into the frame, carrying in her fists the sun and the moon, balancing on her shoulders all the sophistry and superstition of the Julian and the Gregorian, the history of the why and how she ended up drawing the short straw. Long story short, the mountain and valley knuckle reckoner we used as kids to figure out the lengths of months was always redundant for February. Oh, February, you verily are a veil. Short and sweet, only once did you ever lay claim to 30 days. This might make for a good yarn. Maybe we'll save that for another day. Feel not too sad for this Roman month of the dead, when entire cities used to be sanctified and cleansed of evil spirits. For Februarius offers us more than a sop, bringing us flowers and chocolates, and maybe, just maybe, if you are lucky, love instead. I'm going to do a little bit of a backward trek to the beginning of this month. It's to the groundhog and Groundhog Day. Yesterday was your day, O woodchuck. Did you scuttle back into your burrow? Were you too scared of your own shadow? What portents do you bring? Is it an end to a bitter winter, or will the cold winds still blow? Pray tell us what you know. Is it the start of spring? How do you escape the treadmill of today, if tomorrow will not come? Oh, land beaver, will you just go to ground, wait for another 6 weeks for spring to come around? Don't make me become a non-believer. Let today just stay today. There's no need for you to pull away. If you could just arrange deep inside to make something change, to find what's true, you might burrow your way through to the other side of today until it becomes yesterday. Which kind of brings me into Valentine, and Valentine's Day, but I've taken a slightly different approach. I once had a prompt on love is and dot, dot, dot. So here goes. Said the 5-year-old to me, love is this tiny hand I place upon your knee. Love is when you read me a bedtime story. Love is when you let me clamber into your bed when I've had a nightmare. Love is when you run your fingers through my hair. Love is when you pretend not to know the answer to my riddles. Love is when you let me win at tag. Love is when you teach me how to ride a bike, how to fly a kite, how to swim. Love is when you give me your ice cream cone when I've dropped mine on the floor. Love is when you wait for me outside play school. Love is when, like Baloo the bear, you let me sit on your tummy as you do the backstroke in the pool. Love is when I bring you your house slippers when you get back home from work. Love is when you let me wear your spectacles so I can pretend to be as wise as you. Okay, on the other side of love, when it's kind of working but you're not sure, it's called double trouble. It's all about mobile phones and overuse of WhatsApp. 1 tick, 2 tick, blue tick 2. I know you saw what I sent to you. 1 tick, 2 tick, both stay gray. When will she see what I had to say? Maybe she has, maybe she has not. Meanwhile, I tie myself into a knot. Ah, I see that she is typing. I eagerly await her reply. Phew, I can stop this griping. All's well with my world, with nothing awry. And sort of staying with the theme of spring or something. This one is titled, And It Must Be Spring or Something. For you are already up and about, I find you missing. That extra 10 minutes of snuggled slumber. You shrug off a discarded extra blanket, a spring, a purpose to your stride. You become a tulip hunter, or maybe this morning it will be daffodils. Methinks that winter gets too hard a rap as it bows out to a slow hand clap. I must spring to its defense. For winter doth commit no crime. Surely with winter here it has to be spring that brings up the rear. Yet be not too quick to write winter off with his bag of tricks, his wave of wand, his sleight of hand, conjuring a false spring, letting loose a cold snap. So come back to bed, my love. The tea will steep. Yes, winter will yield. And I'm going to switch topic a little bit. Let me just find it. This was a prompt from Finn Bell, kind of month of April, I think it was. So it's called My Favorite Texture. I may have read this here. I hope not. My favorite texture is bubble wrap. I have this guilty secret. I love popping bubble wrap. Those air pockets make a delightful popping sound. The release of air tickles my thumb and index finger. I attack the bubble wrap with precision, a row at a time, pop, whoosh, flatten. I know I should stop, but I just can't. I know I should store and recycle for when I next need to wrap something fragile, but where's the fun in that? Okay. And the next one, another prompt from Finn in April. Well, ET. Yes, extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial is a mouthful and suggests a very geocentric view. We humans, as masters of this universe, ET et al.
Neil, I think we may have
As
lost
I
you.
thank Spielberg and Matheson for creating this adorable person, his beseeching eyes. Oh man. Okay. I are you okay. I'll try to
I mean,
shut down.
you're back now, but we missed a lot of the poem that you were just reading.
Okay, I'm going to start that again. I'm so sorry. There's very little I can do about this. Okay. Here goes. I'm going to start from the top. Okay. Here we go. ET. Extraterrestrial, it's a mouthful and suggests a very geocentric view. We humans, as masters of this universe. E.T. ET works much better. Small case. In small case, it might be et al., which also works, for it means and others, et al. Et al. Is also short for et alibi, which means and elsewhere. How apt is it, I think, as I thank Spielberg and Matheson for creating this adorable person, his beseeching eyes, his husky voice that drawls slowly over the syllables of Elliot. E.T. of the healing touch and the Sistine Chapel, that Michelangelo moment when their fingers touch. The next one is, I guess, I hope I don't go silent, but it's called The Chimes of Silence. Silence does not dwell in a bell jar from which all the air has been sucked out, nor does it reside at the sixth sigma of normal, nor will it languish an unrequited response to whale call from beyond the ether. Silence is quite comfortable within its own skin, at the Venn intersection of sound and noise, the moment of music between two movements, the cusp between sound and echo, monastic calm bookending the tinny of the temple bell, its clapper tongue giving voice to lip and mouth, the fortissimo giving way to the pianissimo with the crescendo, and the diminuendo demanding that you anticipate the ultrasonics of pin drops, then that nanosecond when you hear the chimes, the silence, the moment when the rain has ceased. And in the interest of time and also not wanting to have another situation, I'm going to go to shorter ones. Okay. Here goes. I'm just skipping the long ones. This one, I guess, is timely. And I was told by a dear friend and fellow poet that another very famous poet had something like it, but I hadn't read that one, I promise. Let it not be said Let it not be said that we fell for the rhetoric and allowed ourselves to be misled. Let it not be said that the signs were there from the start, the signs we all misread. Let it not be said that we turned a deaf ear to all the lies that were being spread. Let it not be said that we bit our tongues, leaving our misgivings and doubts unsaid. Let it not be said that we let ourselves be led astray as though we were simply brain dead. Let it not be said that we were blind to old faults and wore rose-tinted glasses instead. Let it not be said that as words became deeds, we ceased to view them with dread. Let it not be said our hearts became hard stone and not a tear did we shed. Let it not be said that we turned our backs on our friends who warned us of the dragons ahead. Let it not be said that we gave up the fight and when it came to the crunch, we fled. Let it not be said that we left men behind, not knowing if they were alive or dead. Let it not be said. Let it not be said. Okay, moving on to is a tongue-in-cheek sort of one. What of the fish and what of the worm? What of the fish and what of the worm? The last gasp of fish. Does it still make you squirm? At the end of the hook, a freshly dead worm. Well, if that worm's still alive, that's for the fish to confirm. Swallowed hook, line, and sinker, then what more could we wish? So we will continue to tinker with the sea and its fish. It's overfishing that's gonna give us such grief, or catch much more than the fish can spawn. We'll deplete all the oceans, the coral, the reef. Plenty of worms, but all the fish will be gone. The next poem is titled Dodo, and it got published in Marairi Literature. Thank you very much, Finn Bell. Dodo. Once upon a time on an island idyllic, a bird known as the dodo used to be endemic. Alas, our dear dodo was quite lethargic. Flight is the opposite of fight. If you have no enemies, you can just hang around. Why take to the skies when you can stay right here on the ground? No predators out there waiting to pounce. Why leave this island when you have everything? Why look everywhere? No need to take wing. You've got it so good, why bother to run when you can waddle and strut? There's plenty of fruit, lots of seeds, dig around for a root or maybe a nut. This reasoning seems hollow, but not so your bones. Your body became heavy when you're no longer so swift. When you flap your wings, you don't feel the lift. You grow fat and contented, you might say well-rounded. Before you know it, you're well and truly grounded. One day the humans will come to tear down the forest, to rip out each tree. All the food that came easy might soon cease to be, or be gobbled up by the monkeys and pigs that the settlers brought along. Before you know it, all your food will be gone. According to the Dutch, nothing about you amounted to much. They shot you, tentatively tried you to season their stew, right to be apprehensive, for you tasted offensive. Your meat did not nourish, yet hunted down in a flourish, for you were fearless and flightless, rounded and alas, totally grounded, and maybe dumb as they come as a bird. You were distinct, lacking the survival instinct. Dead as a dodo, you now are totally extinct. Okay, I'm gonna kind of move to a closure. This was a poem written when I visited Walden, and Walden advice to a young poet. A poem is like a hint of a pebble inside your shoe. It walks with you for many a mile as you circumambulate the waters of a lake. A walk through the woods, touching trees from time to time, acknowledging their ancient wisdom. If you crouch down slowly to listen, you might get to hear the sound of the wind in the grass. At some point in the woods, you will encounter a pile of rocks and stones. It is said that those who visit may add a stone to this pile, a marker that you too contributed to this tradition. That's when you will reach inside your shoe for the pebble that carried you to this crossing, only to find that it is no longer there, if ever it was. You can always turn to the plenitude of rocks others have left selflessly, left them on the track. Just how you place your stone on this mound of poetry is what will make this poem yours. Again, sort of staying with the Ars Poetica theme, and I'm about to close out. This is, I think, the last but one. Again, a bit irreverent. Said the poem to the bard. Read me when I'm in my flower, not when I'm in my seed. So read me at your peril, for this warning you must heed. Let me nip this in the bud for you. Best wait till I'm in bloom. Any clever stunt you try and pull, you'll do so at your doom. Read me when I'm in my flower, not when I'm in my seed. So you want to read me line by line and not when I'm complete. So your rich reservoir of rhyme and meter is what I will deplete. You ignored my every warning, so now your landing will be hard, for I'm the eternal king of verse, and you are just the bard. You beg me for forgiveness with your open hands in prayer, as every line of song you ever wrote disintegrated into air. Your muse has long deserted you and fled to a distant land. Your verbiage sounds so hackneyed, your poetry secondhand. And that's almost me done, and you'll be glad to hear that. And you're on mute. Hopefully, it wasn't too much of a disaster, the poor reception, but it's this one's titled You're on Mute. One touch of a button, a nudge of the screen to make yourself heard and more than just seen. They couldn't hear you, but you sure heard them. Seeking your pearls of wisdom, awaiting your gem. Your punchline rehearsed, ready to give it your all. In your fumbling embarrassment, you exited the call. Reminds me of how Zoom started for all of us. Okay, that's me done. Sorry if the reception was poor.
Neil, great job. There was just that one little poem in the middle that you cut out, and we heard everything else.
Oh,
Uh,
wow, thanks. That's a relief.
yeah, I can imagine how frustrating and anxious you must have felt reading that, knowing that there was an initial technical thing. But we got all of it. I think my favorite turn of phrase was land beaver. And I'm just kind of wondering how the Gophers feel about that. Like, are they thinking, no, 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 like the beavers are actually the water gophers? I don't know. It's this is what occurs to me. But beaver is was quite a thing. I love I love that you brought Valentine's Day and love into it. Love is so thank you for being the first one to remind us what's coming up this weekend today in this reading. Um, I'm not sure what to do with your favorite texture being bubble wrap. That I can share in a family setting. But that's intriguing. Is we'll just go with that. Well done there. So let it not be said that we did not enjoy your reading because we did. All hail the king of verse, Neil Daswani. And you got me just wondering about telling people in person, you're muted, you're muted. We should try that in person when we're not on Zoom and see how they react. Just an idea for people out there. Neil, thank you so much. I'm going to paste some stuff in, just a couple things in the chat. There you go. And share the screen to show the broadside I made for your poem. There it is. You can download this now at the Cobalt Poets website, poetrysuperhighway.com/cobalt. It's an 11 by 17 print that you can have, look at, print out, do what you'd like with. And I hope that you'll consider tipping Neil for his reading tonight. The tipping is done via PayPal. Neil's PayPal ID email address is in the chat. It's nice to be to get paid to do your art. So, and this is how we do that. It's gratifying to take some of that money and do what you want with it. Maybe you buy food with it. Maybe you buy a coffee. Maybe you donate it somewhere. I don't know, but to be able to do something with money that you've made from poetry is a great thing. So please consider supporting our featured reader, Neil, for his reading today. And yeah, there you go. Neil, if you have links to your books in places that people can check them out, please put them in the chat. I couldn't find anything in any of the obvious places. So if they're available somewhere, let us know by putting the links in the chat. And there you go. And thank you again so much for being here and for your reading while on the go.
Most welcome. Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for our featured reader, Neil Daswani. Thank you so much, Neil. Next week, before we get to the rest of tonight's open reading, I'll mention that our featured reader will be Rich Youmans. Maybe it's Youmans. I'm not sure. He's a poet I discovered in Rattle. He is a writer of haibun and haiku, that he's in that world. I think it was a high bun that got sent out via Rattle, which I really dug. And so we've got Rich Youmans coming to us next week. That leads us to the rest of tonight's open reading. Here's who I have in this order: Melody Anderson Bermides, Cathabella and Jackie, Ken Scott, Carrie Cox, Debbie Siegel, Christopher T. George, Linda V.E. Crawford, Bill Gaines, Sean Mahoney, Christian Montalegre, Dig Wayne, and me. If anyone would like to be added to the list, please send a message in the chat. Happy to add you. Just as a reminder, or if you came late and didn't hear, 2 poems maximum, less is more is the suggested time limit. On deck, Cathabella and Jackie. Please welcome our next reader, Melody Anderson Bermides. Hello, Melody.
Hi there. That was a wonderful reading there, Neil. I appreciated it. You had read some poems on spring, and my poem is called Spring. Goes like this. Start again. Spring. A fat, red-breasted robin sits on a branch of the big tree in my front yard. Another robin, a mate perhaps, lands on a nearby branch, looking over at her. Are they surveying the tree, our big sycamore tree, for nest building in the upcoming spring? I recall when we surveyed this house, 2 mothers, a baby girl 2, a baby boy 1. The big tree was there, greeting us some 27 years ago. The little girl is grown now, 29 years old, with a 5-year-old girl of her own, our first grandchild. The little boy is grown now, 28 years old, with a 2-year-old boy and a 1-year-old girl of his own, 2 more of our grandchildren. Malia, who I call his wife, is ripe with 1 more child, another grandchild, due in April. The robin with the fat red breast matches Malia. Will the babies, 1 baby boy and a nest full of robins, be born the same day? The big pink house has been alive with love and activity for the last 27 years. Our 5 children, 3 girls and 2 boys, were raised here. 1 boy, now a man, 26, will move out in March. The 2 mothers, our grandchildren, call us Yaya and Mumu, will be alone and yet never alone, with 6 little chihuahuas and 1 fat calico cat. Meow, meow. The big tree will continue to greet relatives, friends, and a postman carrying pen pal letters from the Midwest. It's cold here, but nothing like the 60 degrees below zero wind chill factor we, my sister, I, and a friend left back in Illinois half a century ago. The 2 robins, one with a fat red breast, sit together on 1 branch of our tree, our big sycamore tree in our front yard. Many of our neighbors have chopped down their big trees, replaced by saplings who struggle to grow in this, for us, cold weather. Spring is coming. The 2 robins, mates, will begin building a nest in our tree. Like every spring for the last 27 years, we will watch the robins build their nest, birth their eggs, urge the little robins to break out of their eggs, learn to fly, and one day, yes, fly off to live their lives. We, the 2 mothers, now grandmothers of 3, soon 4 grandchildren, watch our children grow, prosper, and fly off on their own. Spring is our time to rejoice, plant new tomatoes to enjoy the Vallejo sun, and watch as the 2 robins fly off from our tree, our big sycamore tree, leaving behind an empty nest. Thank you.
Melody, that was a beautiful poem, and sad to hear of big trees being chopped down as well.
Very sad.
It's a sad image to think about, but really well written poem. Thank you for bringing it to us tonight. Round of applause for Melody Anderson Bermudez. Thank you, Melody.
You're welcome. Thank you.
On deck, Ken Scott, please welcome now Cathabella Wilson and Jackie Chow. Hello to both of you.
Hello, Rick.
Hello, Rick.
We're happy to be here. And let's see, can I see this? Must be here. Let's see if we can see this. For Cobalt, that looks like the right thing. Okay. So Kazuaki will be featuring here soon, and he is certainly here in spirit today. He's our great inspiration, and we are writing spontaneous tanka on spontaneous themes, and the themes here are, what are they, Jackie? They are
Toppings and comfort foods.
Comfort and junk food. Okay. But it goes a lot deeper than that. And also, we have the overlying theme appropriately on top of everything. So here's Kazuaki. It may feel good to have an overlook, which nobody can have. Just think about that. Jackie.
Too small to complain. No topping of maraschino cherries in my Shirley Temple.
Now, for present and old time's sake, Siggy is still trying to get her computer get back going. She needs some surgery to get that to happen in herself. And here she says, ice cream, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or any time, something in health or ill, taught to eat the very best. She'll be back.
Oh,
I think,
pretending I am still 20. Meal deals of burgers and fries. Too cheap to pass up.
Very good, Jackie. Sorry. I don't know how you lost your identity here. And Kazuaki is back again, says, junk is the one that taught me disagreement between parents and kids. I hope you all remember who Kazuaki is. He's a great, 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 great influence. Okay, Jackie.
High school in low-income area, a luxury of the privileged. Vending machine, Snickers.
Pistachios, and only the softest body dates, mom's desert childhood came back with every bite.
Top of the world, circling around the hills at 2 a.m. Was it mania or infatuation?
Wow, we're all with you there. In the Persian garden, the taste of pistachio and rose, freshly made ice cream on top of our wedding cake. So the inspiration of this on top, at the top of everything, okay? Junk food and comfort food. I'm sure that means a lot to everyone. Mom's 85th. I order her potato chips with an ice cream on top. Her favorite teenage comfort food.
Jelly beans eaten by handfuls at my party. What do kids do nowadays?
Pizza toast for mom's last days at the care facility. Homemade, melting mozzarella hearts. Mm.
There's our
This is our
favorite.
favorite. Yes. Go ahead, Jackie.
Flaming hot, bright red Cheetos for teens with asbestos mouth. Is there actual corn somewhere under the heat?
Here's Kazuaki again. People have a custom piling up stones upward, longing for something up there. After we climbed up to the top, there is a downward slope waiting for us. Mother's long life. She only ate comfort food. Every bite was luscious, and she left the rest. This is something I just realized. This is really my mom. Mother's long life. She lived to be 95. She only ate comfort food. Every bite was luscious, and she left the rest. I guess that's the end. There we go.
It's
Let
a
us
great way to
all
end,
live like
Cathabella.
that.
Well done, Cathabella and Jackie. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank
Great
you, Rick.
collaboration, and thank you for bringing in the other voices as well. A round of applause for Cathabella and Jackie. Thank you both so much. On deck, Carrie Cox. Please welcome now Ken Scott. Hello, Ken.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. The two poems I'm going to do are some oldies but goodies. The first piece that I'm going to do, I wrote about 26 years ago, and this piece is called Drought. I have sown good seed into bad ground and watched as all my most cherished fruits died, like great ideas entrusted to small minds. Where the land was once nourished by creativity, it has now been made parched by commerce. Where it has been warmed by faith, it has now been scorched by greed. And I have seen 10 billion children die homeless and hungry on the drawing boards of industrial finance, where innocent dreams are drawn and quartered and brilliance is guillotined. There is no such thing as new blood in corporate America because there is nothing new under this burning sun, which withers away our most beautiful flowers of compassion. It's always the same ruthless money game. And if you don't play, you don't eat. That's that one. And the second one, more recent, this was done about 5 years ago. And this has to do with a personal experience I had just as I was evicted from my mom's house of 4 decades. And I was trying to recuperate myself. And I was walking down the street. And that was when I realized that sometimes others have it far worse than I do. This piece is called Not Normal. I went walking on Washington Boulevard eastward from La Brea Avenue in Los Angeles. I saw a homeless woman dressing herself on a sidewalk and packing what few meager belongings she had left to her name into a shopping cart. Excuse me. Politely, I said, "Good evening," as I passed by. She simply stared back at me with vacant, soulless eyes. I will never forget the look of hopeless emptiness etched deep into her face. As I walked a few yards further, I noticed the remnants of an automobile accident strewn across the street next to the curb. There was a lonely bus stop seat adjacent to the wreckage. When I looked at the derelict shards of plastic, glass, and metal, then looked backward down the street at the derelict flesh and blood, I collapsed at the seat and burst into tears, fully aware that they were both the same thing. I need for everyone to turn off the goddamn television, get out of the movie theaters, stop streaming Netflix or Hulu or what the fuck ever, close the CNN and Fox News websites, shut down all the social media logins, open your eyes and wake the fuck up. Take a good, hard look at the real world because this is not normal. I repeat, this shit is not normal. The suffering of the poor only exists because of the greed of the rich. And peace.
Thank you, Ken. Powerful statement, powerfully delivered. Good to hear it. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for your 26-year-old piece as well. That's pretty impressive. Thanks for being here. Round of applause for Ken Scott. Thank you, Ken. On deck, Debbie Siegel. Please welcome now Carrie Cox. Hello, Carrie.
Hello, Rick. How are you? So I have a piece well, they're both pretty new, but one's extra new. So I'm gonna start with the older one. It doesn't have a title yet. You butterfly affected me, wrecked me, gave me a reason to behave like you were still next to me. And I'm not talking about sexually, more of a mentally stimulating energy that kept us thriving exceptionally. Time lasted an eternity before you seemed to turn on me, before you learned to stop learning me, before your flames started burning me, before you left the hurt they see and left me with this jealousy for everyone who loves callously. An ambidextrous lesson in what not to mention when one side of your mouth is stuck in suspension between disbelief and a new kind of ascension while I'm drawing old men playing chess, collecting their pensions, ignoring the linchpin of unliving sin, all the ways to get caught giving in, the orchestra poised midair, waiting on the sign to begin, mimicking the wind. On those late autumn nights when the veil grows thin enough to feel the dead, heal what bled, feed what's been so long needing to be fed, get these thoughts out of my head, these barnacled boys out of my bed, a licking like mocking the way you weren't talking, weren't moving your mouth or considering stopping. So I give you the dropping counts of amounts of princes turned frog kings in fairy tale forests. The glass slipper slides on, but the prince keeps shopping for a godmother's girl temporarily jaw dropping, a heartbeat worth quickening, the price on the lips to stop it from stopping. Thank you. And then I have my new one. And so this I wanted to not say what it's about. So I'm not gonna say what it's about. I want it to be something you discover along the way, and I'd love your feedback on if you do or not. My friend said it wasn't explicit enough. She didn't figure it out. So here we go. It's called The Drummer. A little thumper, how you doing down there? Is it as dark as it seems in that cavern you live in? That beating pulse you send out like a beacon, an electrical whirlwind of ones and twos and backbeats and tribal drums, that life force hum born from the universe, ancient and numb. O tiny church where saviors come to hide, oh lighthouse burning out every time it hits low tide, unhinged, unflanged, built from the plans in double helixed hands. I've been wondering how you know when to go fast, when to go slow, how to rest with the demons down below, when to begin again. And then how to stay soft and not mean, how to flutter so slightly you can barely be heard, or pound through the chest with a sound loudly absurd. Oh, thumper, oh, little ticking time bomb, oh, scarlet squished squeeze box flaming with need. Are you flaming orange with untold anger every time I turn my back, caught up in brain-fed data and danger? Are you boarding up windows for an aortic attack? I'm in love with your steady and all of your chorus, pouring out everything, more ashes than dust, more glassy-eyed wonder, more heartbreak, more lust. The opening and closing, the valves and trapdoors, the nightmares and neurons and echoes of fours. I'm swimming around you. I'm talking in tongues. I'm words without meaning and mouths without tongues. I'm taking up space in a room made for lungs. I'm holding you gently when you go deaf, blind, and dumb. In the corollary of the coronary, I crown myself a queen. You teach me the motto of the tempo and the silence in between. Oh, little thumper, how long have we got in this mixed up parable where every last thought hangs in the air like light bulbs on strings, and you just keep beating the air till it sinks. Thank you. Thank you.
Always a treat to hear you read, Carrie. It's always good. I especially love the glimpse inside your head in that first piece there. Well done. Thanks for being here tonight. Round of applause for Carrie Cox.
Thanks, everyone.
On deck is Christopher T. George. Please welcome now Debbie Siegel. Hello, Debbie.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone. What a great night. The Witch I Watched. When I was little, there was an old woman dressed all in white, and I thought of her as the witch. By dawn, she'd descend Marin Avenue, floating down from Wildcat and Grizzly Peak to the Arlington Circle, a 30% grade, and I'd watch from my front window. And at twilight, in white socks and sandals, her milky locks flowing, she'd rise up the grade, back from her magical errands and such, at the waterfront, through 11 neighborhoods, otherworldly, silent. I wish she'd have just once noticed me noticing her and scared me with her scolding. Little girl, get out of my life. Get a life of your own, little girl. Now I wear sandals and socks, and my locks flow in silver white. I write tonight of my life and wonder, have I become her? Cinnamon Broom has a mind, and as I write, she brushes away back memories, sweep by cinnamon sweep. Beatific on the secluded hill, an intimacy nobody intrudes on, in sight of the distant bay, the open golden sky, keening birds of prey. Velveteen head filled with spells and myths, a figment within a fancy, lockets and pockets, bounty of charms, garnered grace of the gods. Truth is the witch's passage, sallying along, primal saunter, present in the rumble, ready in the lightning. I am spreading over the horizon like a condiment. Thank you.
I'm can't decide what condiment to bring up, as filling the whole sky as the sunset. Not mayonnaise for sure. I'll tell you that, Debbie. What a great vision to end that piece on. Thank you so much. Mustard, maybe? I'm not sure. We're all going to need different umbrellas, I think. Debbie, thank you so much. Round of applause for Debbie Siegel. Well done. On deck, Linda V.E. Crawford. Please welcome now Christopher T. George. Hello, Christopher.
Good to see everybody. It's been a wonderful evening. Let me bring up a couple of things here. I'm on a website called, on Facebook, called Art, Literature and Poetry. And Blair Paul is one of the people involved there. Winter, Irish Farm, Antrim. This is one of his original canvases. Winter in Ireland may only last a day, with snow on the ground, that is. The temperature usually stays above 0 every day, and if there is no wind and the sun shines, it can be very comfortable, for sure. Some days, when out walking on the Ballycastle beach, I would find a sheltered spot and lie down on the sand to look at the sea, occasionally drifting off to sleep too, I might add. There were rarely a day when getting out to stretch the legs and discover something new was not possible due to the weather. The painting was based on one of those rare snowy days, and what the snow does to the landscape is quite magical, I think. The next day, these fields were likely green once again, with sheep making their presence known. And I've been to Ireland a number of times because I'm a War of 1812 author. I was last there in 2015, and this is a erratic stone left by glaciers. There's a bit of mythology attached to it with the Irish giants involved. It's above Rostrevor, which I visited in County Down. Boney before. At Rostrevor, the Clough Moor stone hangs on the mountain of Mourne, above the integrated primary school where I speak. A sentinel now, as it has been for millennia. I cannot wait to return to the Whistledown, luxuriate in the hot tub, and rest in your arms. We reach Belfast just as the tall ships are entering the clock. Catch the train by the Europa Hotel, bombed during the Troubles by the IRA. At Carrickfergus, the RAF's red arrows stream trails of red, white and blue as they daredevil the skies of Northern Ireland. We saunter down to the waterfront with its forbidding castle keep, a sunset of poppies wall declaring at the going down of the sun, and in the morning we will remember them with a sentinel soldier. Now we're at the Andrew Jackson ancestral cottage at Boney before, and the leaden skies unload on us, the tall ships and Andrew Jackson's memory as we await the caretaker, loafers soaked despite our umbrella. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. Always appreciate the history and the work that you bring us. Thank you so much for that. We're working on the technology to have shoe umbrellas to help avoid that problem you mentioned there at the end. So we'll let you know when we've got that ready to beta test.
I'll take the shoe umbrellas anytime you're ready.
Okay, good. We've got one, people. We've got one. Round of applause for Christopher T. George. Thank you, Christopher. On deck, Bill Gaines. Please welcome Linda V.E. Crawford. Hi, Linda.
Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. Let me share screen. I'm going to read two poems, both very short. This first one is one of my own. Colonialism, an unchecked instinct. The speed of my hand as it picked a nearby holy card, swiftly smashed it down on the head of a fly. I am stunned by the still, the silver sheen near its eyes, the black of skin. I register the saved savor, still warm, sweet tea, touched by the white from an unknown cow. The second poem is by Nikki Giovanni, Allowables. I killed a spider, not a murderous brown recluse, not even a black widow. And if the truth were told, this was only a small sort of papery spider who should have run when I picked up the book, but she didn't. And she scared me, and I smashed her. I don't think I'm allowed to kill something because I am frightened. Poem. Thank you.
Powerful last image there from Nikki Giovanni. Thanks for sharing that with us, Linda. Cool poem. Your poem is great as well. One of the great lessons I think we can all learn is to beware of the unknown cow.
Yes, it's true. And Nikki's poem was deeply powerful. So thank you.
Yes, agreed. Linda, thank you so much for being here. As always, round of applause for Linda V.E. Crawford. On deck, Sean Mahoney. Please welcome now Bill Gaines. Hi, Bill.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I have two short ones tonight. Our first one is called Strength and Consistency. Rigor mortis set in long before I died, spread down to my shoes and into the ground so that the dirt became my brother, my shadow became a clock, my age became a stick. The history of my life lost all meaningful context, and all my influence settled like dust in a library. And when I died, they said some words about strength and consistency, but nobody talked about how I loved to dance. So into the dust and the dirt I go, and with me all my moves. End of that piece. That was called Strength and Consistency. This is called Style and Grace. Making rings around rings around rings. Ball in the jack, a circle to Saturn for science. Measuring beauty. Searching for life and sending the snapshots home. It's time to die, Cassini. Set a course for the show's stop and finale and dance into the mist where ancient dancers danced before, and there in the heart of your subject, in the open-armed embrace of your partner, secure your star on the walk of fame. And that's the end of that one.
Bill, thank you. Always, Walk of Fame, of course, resonates with us here in Southern California. So good image for me to hear in that piece. Solid work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Round of applause for writer, designer, man with hair, Bill Gaines. Mighty sideburns too. Christian Montalegre, you're on deck. Please welcome now Sean Mahoney. Hello, Sean.
Hey, Rick. Hey, everyone. Just one tonight. This is called The Body Never Retires. This arm is wary, holding you up my decoration, my ring of moderate power, no glow code, uncoded mouthful, tie you down once more over the stovetop with your loose shirt. I adore you for this moment. You taste like home. I need you forever and a few hours thereafter. Maddening how often you visit. No invitation, no call. Staring up from the floor, the rhythm of the ceiling calls to me, tremble or rise. Tremble or rise against the chaos of our time. Use your body, stretch, twist, evacuate. Place rubble in the cold of your birth. Place of no shade, no history, appearing on no map. Which finger gets the ring? Honey drips along our thread, our fiber from one eye socket to hive mind. Take your time, snowball, all descent under your frozen, dead ground. Yet you walked to the microphone, no invitation, no summons for you to appear. Vulgar as dish soap. Iron will, willingness. Will you be here next century? Carpenters and socialites. Fool ready. I need broth, scallions. I need a spice for reversing disasters. Floods of disinformation. Shaman of hard drugs. Officer of incense and fleeting encounters like when you put me in your mouth. Lathered me with spit, and down I went. You ate me. Simple as a bad blue, one mean reading carried me into treetops, left me alone, guideless. I like this. I like this oral tradition very much. Maddening crowd vanquished with a snap. A bell rings and the world leaves, dusty and frail. Your voice echoes still, air bubbles. My will walks the beach. Sea foam, bluster. I will be lazy for a spell. Why get upset over guns? Does murder really bother a 63-inch plasma? Betray incomes and STEM courses? A God-given sky, right? Glass bulb, oh my stars, gift planet, error code, no receipt, no exchange. Figure it all the fuck out on your own, baby. Thank you.
I mean, we could use some help figuring it out, I think, Sean. Um, also, it's vulgar as dish soap. Now, I
Isn't
always
that
find
good?
dish soap,
I actually
like
like that line a lot.
yeah, someone else mentioned it in the chat. I just feel like, when I'm at the sink in the kitchen and using dish soap, it maybe it's a cultural thing. I don't know, but I find it not to be so vulgar.
Think of it as a way of, when you pick up the dish soap to squirt it into your sink or bowl or what have you, you hear my voice with that squeeze going, ah, Rick, no. Every single time.
Well, you've ruined doing the dishes for me forever, Sean.
We got to
Or
train the
you've
cats to
you've
do that for you.
perhaps you've improved it. I don't know. I might actually make a clip of your voice saying that and just have that on hand when doing the dishes to augment the experience. I'll get back to you if that happens. Sean, great to see you here. I like your triple horse background as well. Round of
You're the
applause for
horse, man.
Sean Mahoney.
Thank you.
All right. On deck, Dig Wayne, please welcome now Christian Montalegre. Hello, Christian.
Hey Rick, hey everybody. Yeah, great to be here with all of you tonight. I don't have new work, but I still want to participate, and I wanted to highlight a poem that I read from this anthology We Call to the Eye and the Night, love poems by writers of Arab heritage. And this poem just, inspired me a lot. So I just wanted to share it tonight as I'm working in new poetry. So it's by Mohammed El Kurd, and it's called No Poetry in This. There is no poetry in suicide, and there is no poetry in cigarettes. Yet so many poets break their lines with threats of triggers, break their lines with cliffs. So many poets break their necks below cliffs. Many find refuge in riffs. Many find rhymes in death and sing a little of a lullaby, a dwelling, a swimming in morning, whisper in each other's ears around writing tables, their wills. There's no beauty in this. Yet, when my grief lost anger, I lost my will. When I became no longer angry, my lungs became merely slaves to a rhythm, a routine. I no longer took breaths because I wanted to. I took breaths because if I did not, my grandmother's heart would be broken, and I cannot bear to break her multi-broken, seldom glued heart. But in my tongue's honesty, I'll admit, my love seed is made for two, and I am not loveless, but loverless. And no matter how much I pack my joy in jars, soak it in salt water so it persists, my joy is stolen, stoned, bricked. I am blue and blued, and I bruise and I scar myself, so I entertain it on my couch. Suicide. I let it in sometimes. Suicide. We talk, yes. Maybe because I fall in love with those who have knives for teeth and onions for tongues. Maybe because of heartache or genetics or maturity lived too early, raised like a child with child or a child without childhood. And sometimes I cannot help but to wound my rhymes instead of my wrists. Still, there is no poetry in this. There is nothing but long nights, melatonin, tops turned beds, and mornings that promise me new beginnings, and morning I owe myself, and a lot of, baby, don't let nobody steal your joy. Don't you let no motherfuckers will try, but don't let them. Thank you, Miss Thin, who caught me crying behind my eyelids and helped me like my mother didn't, and all poetries in this consolation, recourse, flesh in flesh, a woman's heavied with burdens, electric embrace, unburdening my poetry. All poetry is in this. So fell in love with that poem. So I wanted to share that, guys. By Mohammed Al-Kurd. And again, the book is called We Call to the Eye and the Night, an anthology of writers of Arab heritage.
Christian, that was a breathtaking poem. Thank you so much for bringing it to us tonight. Nice to hear you, and I appreciate your desire to participate, even without a new poem of your own. Very cool to bring in the work of someone else, and just to participate in the act of sharing poetry is keeps your chops up. So thank you for doing that. Thanks for being here. Come again soon. Round of
Thanks,
applause for
Greg.
Christian.
Thanks, everybody. Great to be with all of you tonight.
Thank you. A round of applause for Christian Montalegre. Two more, Dig Wayne, Michael G. Hickey, and then me. I guess that's three more. So Michael, you're on deck. Please welcome now Dig Wayne. Hello, Dig.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone. I have one poem tonight. It's called We Are Ice. Drown them in the bathtub at birth. String them up by their ankles like Mussolini. Make them dig their own graves before you shoot them in the back of the neck. Learn how to speak the language. Wet your tongue with questions for the missing adults. Fill your empty drawers with sock bombs. Protest against your reflection. We are ice, whether we like it or not. Everyone is innocent. Everyone is guilty. We have not been invaded by aliens. How many degrees of separation are you from the jackbooted others, pushing you to the ground, choking on aggression, all sons and daughters of your neighbors, if not you? You are ice. You can't separate yourself from humanity. We are ice. We are America. This is who we are. Don't get used to it. Thanks.
Good one, Dig. Thank you so much for adding to the archive of primary sources that will be read when all of this nonsense is over someday and looked at to tell the story of what has happened, what is happening here. Thank you very much for that.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Round of applause for Dig Wayne. Thank you, Dig. On deck, me to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Michael G. Hickey. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone. I'm going to read one poem in 3 parts, and it's for Valentine's Day. It's called, appropriately enough, I think, Love Poem. Part 1. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, you're my girlfriend. You are, you are. Roses are red, violets are blue. I hope you like me, because I like you. Part 2. The first poem I ever wrote was the worst poem I ever wrote, except to her, Ellen Curl, my 2nd grade girlfriend. Eyes blue as planet Earth, viewed by astronauts in space. Bangs, dimples, pleated skirt, knee socks. She showed me her appendectomy scar at twilight behind the gymnasium. Later that night after dinner, I wrote my composition for her, and the next day had it recopied in gold ink by Jim, my next door neighbor, an 8th grader with perfect cursive that looked like calligraphy on fire. And the day after that, in school, when Sister Mary Peter turned her back in class, I slipped the poem to Ellen and watched her smile spread like an ocean wave in slow motion. But later that month, her dad got transferred and Ellen's family moved to Mount Vernon, 60 miles away, which might as well have been Hong Kong. And all that week, I cried myself to sleep, hardly ate, didn't even watch cartoons on TV. Part 3, this really happened. Part 3, 15 years later, home from college on summer break at the county fair between the cotton candy and Tilt-A-Whirl, a friend leads me to the parking lot. There's somebody you have to see. And there she is, Ellen Curl, leaning against the silver pickup truck, still with those blue planet eyes, hugs, small talk. Remember 2nd grade? And just before we leave forever again, she says, wait. And from the deepest, darkest regions of her purse, she pulls out the poem in gold ink, fragile, paper tattered and yellow as a harvest moon. And it occurs to me in the parking lot, alive with rainbow snow cones and blue ribbon chrysanthemums, that I actually may have peaked as a poet with the very first poem I ever wrote. Thank you.
A girl has to really like you to show her her appendectomy scar, Michael. I found, and it's a weird fetish. Also, I should point out, a sweet poem, sweet story. Thanks for getting us in the mood earlier in the week, and may you encounter many other people who have your poetry deep in the bowels of their purses or perhaps fanny packs. Round of applause for Michael G. Hickey. Thank you, Michael. I'm going to close out the open reading with 2 poems. This one is from my book, High Moose Alert, on the cover of which is a moose whose name no one knows. We were in Dawson City. That's the city that has the bar, the Sour Toe Club, where you can drink the drink with the toe. And one of the cool things that's there is Jack London's cabin. And you can go there and hear a person tell you all about Jack London and the time he spent in Dawson City. trying to make his fortune in the Yukon gold craze. So I wrote this there. This is called A History of Jack London as told by Angela at the Jack London Museum. Jack published 50 books within 17 years. I have a lot of catching up to do. Our guide apologizes for going on. Please go on, I tell her. Jack worked in a pickle cannery 7 days a week when he was 14. Jack wanted to be an oyster pirate. I don't know what that is, but feel it has now also always been my dream. Jack became Prince of the Oyster Pirates. Then he became a hunter of the Oyster Pirates for the Fish Patrol. Jack steered a ship through a typhoon. Soon he joined a group of hobos and became the train-riding Frisco Kid. Angela calls Congress Parliament and pronounces the S in Illinois. Jack became a socialist at Berkeley in response to unrestrained capitalism. Jack was 21 when he arrived in the Yukon. He started prospecting when it was 40 below Fahrenheit, when the moisture would turn to ice, creating an ice fog. After a while, he had to purge himself from the Yukon. They're going to publish me whether they want to or not, Jack said. He was rejected over 150 times. He was the first writer to make $1 million in his lifetime. Jack was imprisoned in Japan after fighting a Japanese soldier while as a correspondent. The American president had him pardoned. You can't take Jack London, Angela says. He died at 40, so I've already made it. We hear a dog bark outside. Is that Buck? His 48,000 square foot mansion in Sonoma burned down 2 weeks before he was going to move in. I am so tired of writing that I'd cut off my fingers and toes in order to avoid writing, Jack said. The function of a man is to live, not to exist, Jack said. Angela used to be the tow captain. Her family used to own the tow business. We get a whole other talk about the many toes. Another lie from Big Toe. Angela says, toes are us, I offer helpfully. Okay, that's from a book that I wrote called High Moose Alert. This is a new poem called Nation of Laws. It's a poem for this week's Torah portion, which in Hebrew is called Mishpatim, which is the Hebrew word for laws, nation of laws. I live in a nation of laws, but the laws seem to change with the flick of a tweet. It may soon be illegal to write poems in tercets. I'm ready to turn myself in. The ancient text, the ideals of which lived in the hearts of the authors of My Nation of Laws, say not to harass the foreigner. Can you imagine the ancient auditing these ordinances? You're not doing it right, they'd say, and probably add in an observation about how there seem to be a lot of people eating meat with dairy. This is where my vegetarianism comes in handy. I wonder how they'd feel when they learned some of the mistreated aren't foreigners at all. There are no illegals on stolen land, they shouted from the big stage. Do any of you vet these things? They'd shout from the past, and most of us would cheer, yeah, but then another tweet would come and the ancient would get arrested. This is what it's like in my nation of laws today. I pray the pen is mightier than the tweet. I pray for the ancient to be proud. Okay, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here today. Big thanks to Neil Daswani for bearing with the technical limitations of where he is visiting and for sharing his poetry. I'm pasting the stuff in the chat again for our featured reader, Neil. You can tip Neil for his reading via PayPal, and there is his PayPal email address, so you can do that, and you can download the broadside, his broadside at the Cobalt Poets website there as well. As always, if you're not on our email list, when you're on that website, click on email list, and you can add yourself to that list and get the reminders of who is reading here in upcoming weeks. Next week, as I mentioned earlier, is Rich Youmans, who's a writer of haibun and haiku and short poems. So it should be a cool, interesting reading next week. Yeah, there you go. I think that's everything I need to tell you. I'm going to click on unmute so y'all can say hi to each other before we take off for the evening.
All right, all right, all right.
Hi to each
Hi.
other.
Hi, everybody.
To each other.
Good night.
To each other.
Great work, everyone. Thank you all.
Great
Yeah.
night
Yes.
as usual.
And Neil Daswani, very
Wonderful.
good. Loved it.
Wonderful
Thank
You were
feature,
great.
Neil.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely enchanting, Neil.
Jack London was involved in the East End of London, ironically, in the early 1900s. I'm putting a thing in the chat.
Hey,
Might
before
wanna
I let
check
everyone
out.
go, I just realized someone just said that I missed Artemis. Did you send a message saying you want to read and I missed it? Oh, gee,
Oh, Christopher, I think
you
you
are
meant to send
here
that
right
to
now. You got a
everybody.
poem you want to drop right now before we take off? I'm clicking on. Yeah, there you go.
I can.
Please do.
Oh,
Yay,
look at
Artemis.
Finn. Okay, thank you. The poem. Can you hear me? Do I sound muffled this time?
I can hear you.
We
You
can hear
sound
you.
great.
Okay. The title of the poem is His Success. How do we measure the success of a man? By his walk, by his talk, by his number of friends, by the number of wins he's accomplished at the day's end. Is this man a prophet or a visionary? Why, of course he is, and rightly so. He's a poet, a dreamer, a man of action, don't you know? His ambition is the language spoken in ink. He carved his success with words to make you think. His courage is boundless from open challenges. He will never shrink. Faced with adversity from bitter cups, he never refuses to drink. His genius is rooted in intuition, in the way he reads people like poems and makes the most difficult decisions come to fruition. He knows that every empire begins as a whisper in the mind. So he writes his future remembering that with each verse he creates a precious moment in time. He is a man who turns setbacks into strategy, who turns dreams into blueprints that builds into legacy. He doesn't wait for permission. He writes his own path. With it, it is never a hard decision. To him, adding up the cost is simple math. Success follows him not because he chases it, but because he creates it. Dream by dream, he makes his own choice to bless those within the sound of his voice. End of piece.
Yeah.
Artemis, thank you so much. I'm sorry I missed your message earlier, but really glad we got to hear that piece today. If people, if I miss you, send me another message. I'm just not good at this. Let's just say that. So
That's
Artemis,
a
really
big
glad
email.
to hear your poem.
You're
Well, thank
wonderful,
you.
Rick. Don't degrade yourself.
It's
human,
my
right?
default, Christopher. Round of applause for Artemis. Now and then continue the talking amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
It's called being human, dude. Don't worry about it. We're all human. Right?
And enjoyed your show, Neil.
Yeah.
Neil
Yeah.
Daswani. Great show.
Yeah, excellent feature in spite of the technical bars. You did a great job, man.
Thank you so much, everyone. I was, yeah, really anxious about that, so I kind of rushed through, but thanks
You
for
did
being
it.
patient.
You did it.
That's awesome.
Nailed it.
Where are you after India, Neil?
I just go back home. I'm here because well, there are a whole bunch of family members who ain't doing that well, so I kind of make
Oh.
quarterly visits to see my parents. They're in their 90s. You know that.
Oh,
There's a
wow.
couple of
Okay.
yeah. So, I go back home, but I'm in the States for nearly a month, starting the 1st of March, 2nd of March. Yeah.
I hear that
Uh-huh.
Chris Mooney Singh is currently in India as well. But you're probably in a far-flung area from him.
He's out in the Punjab where he and his
Yeah.
wife are running a farm. I've got an
Mhm.
open invite for him to at some stage go there. For the benefit of those who don't know Chris Mooney Singh, he's a really unique sort of guy. I mean, he's
Yeah. I know him.
Yeah.
Great.
He's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, no. So I hope to see some of you out in the US, if not all. Whatever. I'm at
So
the
what is your
AWP.
tour? What does your tour entail of the United States? Where will you be?
It's going to be Baltimore.
Oh, no kidding.
It's going to be Connecticut, where there's some. Yeah. Baltimore, Connecticut. I may pop across to see Marianne Teft in Toronto, and then I'm going to Austin and Albuquerque.
So
I'm
real
not
quick,
too far from Baltimore.
real quick,
Okay.
Christopher George, did you mean to post that Jack London on the East End in the main chat?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah, because I saw it sent directly to me by myself, and I realized that you might have meant that for everybody, so I just cross-posted it back there.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, he had some ideas about the East End, and I have been involved with Jack the Ripper, and he had some observations about the East End of London where the murders occurred. I do Jack the Ripper, I do